Hi, welcome to the Wired
and Rewired podcast, all about the hit HBO series, The Wire.
I'm Chris, and this is my 1000th time watching The Wire.
And this is Ellie. It's my first.
If you're new to the Force, old-time veteran, we think you'll find something here to enjoy. Today, we cover Season 2, Episode 6, and as always, we begin by popping a recap. Trying to let go of police work and return to his marriage, McNulty gives up on identifying his Jane Doe. In their investigation of Sabatka, the detective discovered a pattern in the computer and explained the connection to Daniels, but he still won't take the murders. Sabatka tries to play the political game on behalf of his union. Nick gets the chemicals that Vondas asked for and, as payment, accepts money and drugs, packaged for sale. D'Angelo wants to live life outside of Barksdale's umbrella, forcing Belle to bring in outside help for the problem. A little less detail this time than last time, which was basically the entire episode.
That's okay. We'll have plenty of detail while we talk.
Yeah, exactly. All right, the episode was written by David Simon and was directed by Steve Shell. He went back to back, and this was his third episode overall. Okay. And just a quick note that in this episode on the DVD, Dominic West and Michael K. Williams provide the audio commentary, and Dominic West called Steve Shell the driest Englishman you can ever meet. So I thought that was funny. And it would premiere on July 6, 2003. So before we get into the epigraph, I did want to go back to episode 5. And Ellie, I feel like I wasn't quite on top of my game. And I apologize. It was a bad game for me.
Oh, really?
Because I try to catch the callbacks and some of the details that they drop. And for whatever reason, I just wasn't really paying attention. But, I think just an important note that when Frank was talking to Bunk and Beatty and they were going over the computers and Ringo was trying to find whatever, Frank says sometimes you might see a broken custom seal, sometimes you might not. But in episode 1, Horseface is yelling at Frank that the custom seal was broken and their asses are hanging out. So
You're
Frank
right.
knew that, and I think
that's
that
broken is a big deal.
Yeah, and so I think that especially for Horse, I think he's really actually quite good at his job.
Yeah.
And so he knows when the seal is broken and what they, when that is. So I kind of just missed that, and I'm
That's
like, okay,
right.
so I'm redoubling my efforts. I'm on it this time. So
I was really disappointed.
I'm sure. Well, believe me, that was part of the reason why I had to mention it, because I knew you would be disappointed,
Yes.
I can't live with that shame. So okay, why don't you break off the epigraph for us?
The epigraph is, "It don't matter that some fools say he different," and that's from D.
Yep. Well, and we'll see how that plays out for poor D'Angelo. So.
Yes.
Okay. Well, and what are your initial thoughts on this episode?
I really like this episode. Yeah, this episode redeemed things for me after the last episode. She
was about to give up, friends.
No, I was not going to give up. But all the plot lines move forward quite a bit in this episode, and it's satisfying.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and even the name itself, Prologue.
All Prologue. Yeah. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because as I got through, we could talk about this more, of course, as I always say, but some of the things felt like not precursor, like they felt like they were wrapping things up to me in some ways. But then the more I started thinking about that all Prologue, I was thinking about, okay, this is whose is this backstory or beginning information for as their journey starts to change or really take off. So yeah, it was interesting. Yeah,
definitely. And so I wanted to share some thoughts. Just I think overall, when I think about the show as a series, there's a lot of discussion about people rank the seasons, and I as I kind of saw it, I was like, okay, to me, like the ranking of the seasons is kind of, there's not a lot of, it's not especially interesting to me, only because it feels like I see the same pattern over and over, and so that got me thinking about favorite episodes, which again, I don't know that it's all that kind of interesting, but the reason why I bring that up is because when your comment last time, I never really thought about, see that episode 5, Undertow, being, kind of a less, interesting episode, but I think you were kind of right. And then there was this episode, and this episode has so much,
it does,
not just storylines, just really entertaining,
Yes.
really compelling scenes.
Yes.
It's just
Yes.
crazy. It's
Yeah.
just so rich as an episode itself. And I just thought it was kind of interesting to reflect on it after your comment last time. I don't know if it's a connection. I feel like a little bit like it is. Like last time you mentioned there was a lot of contrived, bit
Right.
explainy. And again, and I think, yeah, and I think you were right. And that episode was written by Ed Burns, who's not a storyteller by trade, right? He was
okay.
a cop. He was also a teacher.
Okay.
And so so I thought that was kind of interesting. And so it's almost like, well, Ed, we need you to lay a bunch of foundation
Right.
about how the rest of the season is going to go.
Right.
And so, we need you to kind of provide the dry content here.
Yes.
And then this episode was written by David Simon, who's incredibly experienced storyteller as a journalist. And of course, now you just have all this interesting stuff brought in, including the humor and things like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Ed Burns, when you listen to, he's a very dry person in general. Speaking of dry, he's also just, I don't know how much humor he has to him. I mean, I'm sure he's got a good sense of humor, but in any case, it was just very interesting. So I really just want to reflect back. I really appreciate your comment from last time, because I think that as a fanboy of the show, I'm like, oh, every episode is great. And then you're like, well, no, not really, but it does help you to appreciate the episodes when there's something really stand out. So anyway, so that was, I let you give your thoughts, but I had more important, more important. I had to get mine out as well. So thank you for letting me go on like that. Okay.
No problem.
All right. So before we get started on the recap, wanted to mention we have to go over your predictions.
Okay.
So you did, let's see. So bet I would say like percentage wise, your on base percentage is good for this episode. Omar's going to have a lovely suit. Now, not a suit, but his outfit was outstanding.
Outfit was outstanding.
So perfect there. Death Grip rebrand is going to start working. We didn't get anything. Didn't get any of that. So again, nope, that's a no bet. Jimmy is going to go another episode without a lead on the Jane Doe, and you got that exactly right. And so, of course, we know that he's no longer producer at all. Horseface is going to die. Now, that one was a big swing.
I know.
That was a big swing. So I love that you went for it.
I still think it could happen.
Okay, hey, but just not this episode. This one I definitely want to give you credit for. Ziggy will not have paid off Cheese yet, but the Fairfield job will happen. So you got that right. And Ziggy didn't technically pay off Cheese. So I'm giving you credit for it.
Yeah, okay.
No bumper sticker.
No bumper sticker on this one. Disappointing.
I really thought I actually forgot, and I thought there was in this episode. So, okay, well, so overall, back on track. I would say on the predictions.
Yes.
Good job.
Okay.
Any initial questions before we get started?
I do have one, but we'll get to it when we get to it.
Well, let us begin then.
All right. Well, so the storylines that I have for us today are Omar holds court, literally. Post-its, patterns, Pacusa, and Patapsco. Nikki, the negotiator, and Pokerface Frank. McNulty's retirement. And Dee's second act, ... maybe.
Okay.
Question mark.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. I love that. You're just weaving all these pieces together.
I'm trying. So let's start with Omar, because that's the way that the episode opens up. He is waiting to go on stand, and there is an officer that's sitting there with him and doing a crossword puzzle and asking him for the clue for God of War. It's not Mars. And Omar comes up with Aries. He's just a very intelligent guy. Says he was really into all those myths. He thought that was fascinating. He is dressed in a black and red bomber jacket, and then when it's time for him to go in, he pulls out a necktie, beautiful little silk necktie that doesn't go with the outfit at all, and just does the simple loop to put it onto his neck. Anyways, he gets onto the stand. Oh, we see too that the jacket he's wearing is later, it's the Hawaiian Warriors jacket, which was really cool. I've not heard of that team. I don't know how he would have gotten hold of a jacket like that, but I thought it was really interesting. Beautiful jacket. Anyways, so Eileen Nathan starts in, getting him to say, where he lives, how old he is. He doesn't seem to be very sure, but he thinks he's 29. And what he does, he says he does rip and runs, right? He robs drug dealers, explains that, and that he's been doing it for 8 or 9 years. Eileen's like, well, have you been doing that for so long? And well, day at a time, I suppose. And as he is in court doing this, we see that Stringer and McNulty are there as well. And Stringer says to McNulty, the word is Omar, didn't actually see this happen. But McNulty says, we're not on the street.
Yeah.
And he is absolutely right.
Yep.
And Omar identifies Bird's gun,
Mm-hmm.
provokes Bird, too, who ends up having an outburst in court, calling him a lying cocksucker. And Stringer decides, well, okay, I guess we better leave.
Mr. Little, do you recognize this particular weapon?
Yeah, that's Bird's gun, the 380.
You've seen it before?
Bird always flashing that thing.
So you'd actually seen it before the day in question. And on the day in question?
It was in Bird's hand.
When he shot at Mr. Gant.
Yes, ma'am. Bird covered them shiny little pistols.
Objection, Your Honor.
And the boy too trifling to throw it off even after a daytime murder.
You a lying cocksucker, man! I rip your heart you got.
Yep.
There's no reason to be here.
Yep.
So yeah, so far, just like Omar in court is pretty fun to watch.
Oh yeah.
You
oh
loved
yeah.
it.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, so this is one of the favorite scenes of the entire series.
Fabulous.
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah, and yeah, it is terrific. Now, and you got the callback from the last episode. Anything with a tie, Eileen says when she gives. Okay, so that's why he's wearing it,
and that's why he's just wearing a necktie.
Yeah.
Yep.
And and then he gives Stringer the little finger gun as he walks by.
Yes.
Great stuff.
Well, it gets even better when Levy comes in.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Should I start talking about that now?
Unless you have something in between.
No,
that you wanna...
I don't.
Yeah, okay. Why don't you go ahead and
Okay.
then we'll wrap it all.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is great, but Levy asks if Omar was given something in exchange for his testimony and points out to the jury that Omar was arrested many times and one was an attempted murder. And Omar was like, I was just shooting Mike in his hind parts, you know? And he's like, the jury is kind of laughing, and like I said, he's holding court. He's like easily holding court. And Levy thinks that he's showing Omar is not a voice to be trusted to everybody, right? But Omar points out, he says, like, I never put my gun to no citizen. We've talked about how Omar has like his own moral code, right? Like what he will do and what he will not do. And, Levy's like, oh, you're just a parasite who leeches off. And that's when Omar cuts in, just like you, man.
Yeah.
And the jury, I mean, everybody thinks that about lawyers, that they are just money grubbing, blah, blah, blah. And he banks on it.
Yeah.
And gets this reaction out of the jury that is like, oh, I can actually relate to this guy.
Right.
This, guy who steals from drug dealers. I can relate to him.
Yeah.
Mr. Little, can I ask why you came forward in this case?
I told the police what I know.
Were you offered anything in exchange?
Like what?
Were you arrested? Were you going to be charged with a crime, and by testifying, did the police agree to drop those charges?
Nah, man, ain't even about that.
How many times have you been arrested as an adult, Mr. Little?
Sure, I done lost count. Don't have to take it personal.
Possession of a handgun, possessing a concealed weapon, assault by pointing, robbery, deadly weapon, possession of a handgun again, followed by violation of parole on weapon charges, followed by one count of attempted murder and use of a handgun in commission of a felony.
That wasn't no attempt murder.
What was it, Mr. Little?
I shot the boy Mike in his hind parts, that all. Fixed it so he couldn't sit right.
Why'd you shoot Mike in his hind parts, Mr. Little?
Let's say we had a disagreement.
A disagreement over?
Well, you see, Mike thought he should keep that cocaine he was slinging and the money he was making from slinging it. I thought otherwise.
So you rob drug dealers? This is what you do?
Yes, sir.
You walk the streets of Baltimore with a gun, taking what you want when you want it, willing to use violence when your demands aren't met. This is who you are. Why should we believe your testimony then? Why believe anything you say?
That's up to y'all, really.
You say you aren't here testifying against the defendant because of any deal you made with police.
True that.
That you're here because you want to tell the truth about what happened to Mr. Gant in that housing project parking lot.
Yep.
When in fact you are exactly the kind of person who would, if you felt you needed to, shoot a man down on a housing project parking lot and then lie to the police about it, would you not?
Hey, look, I ain't never put my gun on no citizen.
You are amoral, are you not? You are feeding off the violence and the despair of the drug trade. You're stealing from those who themselves are stealing the lifeblood from our city. You are a parasite who leeches off
Just like you,
the
man.
culture of drugs. Excuse me? What?
I got the shotgun. You got the briefcase. It's on the game, though, right?
It's great.
Yeah. I mean, and of course, in that one comment, he is instead of getting defensive about himself. I mean, I think that's a really interesting part, is that he knows who he is.
Right.
And so when Levy says he's amoral, that first of all, that's not true, but he doesn't get defensive about it.
Yes,
right.
exactly.
Because if he starts to defend himself, that now then he knows Levy, or Levy knows he's got him.
He's not putting
in a
himself
position,
on trial
but he's
here.
like, no, I don't. Yeah, exactly. And so by turning it around on Levy, all of the things that Levy has just said and claimed about Omar is now suspect.
Yes.
And it's just a brilliant move.
Yep.
And of course, that you're exactly right, and it. It almost like you wonder, like, how could Levy ever successfully defend a case ever again? Because anything he says in court is already going to be suspect. But
exactly.
And it's terrific. And Michael Kostroff, who plays Levy, just and Phelan, his response, like those two.
Phelan. You can see Phelan is laughing too, like he's smiling at the things that Omar is saying. Like he too is just kind of like, oh, this is fun and interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that Omar's point about I never put a gun on a citizen, I think that resonates as well, because, when they're asking, like, well, why are you stepping up here? You might just be here for retribution. I mean, it's interesting that Levy never once brings that up, right? I mean, he could have said, you are an enemy of this organization.
Right.
So that's why you're here. We shouldn't believe you because you've had run-ins with these people and you're lying or whatever. He doesn't go there. But in any case, he does like put it on Omar, but because Omar knows who he is and he knows that whatever Levy's saying doesn't matter to him, because he doesn't feel like he has to define who he is. He's already very well aware of that, and that allows him to kind of hit back without being in a cowering stance. So it's very powerful. And of course it just does go to show that, when you have a drug lawyer like Levy, you're just at an advantage over everybody else that doesn't have one. Like if you go back to, George Watson, Marvin Browning from the first season, he's just sitting there and like he has to take 5 years because he doesn't have a Levy in his corner. So, and it's just, so anyway, it's just one of those things where it really is a very powerful scene, just because it shows like how the courts do play out and how having an advantage in court puts you, allows you to get away with more stuff potentially. But, if you have an enemy like Omar, an opponent, I should say, then you can't get away from everything. So it's a terrific scene.
It is.
Yeah, it's hard not to play the entire, all the clips. We'll play a lot of it, but
everything he says is just gold.
Yeah.
But McNulty later asks Eileen, how did Omar do? And, the only answer that you need, they look over at Levy and he's just, putting his stuff in his briefcase, like he's totally pissed off.
Yeah.
That good.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
So great.
It's just great. It's the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, it finishes up with Phelan saying that scheduling will be next month, and Levy says some BS about how this is perjury by Omar and that there will, be an appeal bond. And Phelan has just no patience for that. And basically says, unless Bird can prove that he's the Messiah, none of that is going to be happening. And, Bird's like totally confused. What?
Your Honor, my client, having preserved the necessary grounds for appeal in the record, wishes me to state unequivocally that regardless of this jury's verdict, he is the victim of wholesale perjury on the part of the state's key witness. And we ask that an appeal bond be set so that he can participate fully in this investigation.
An appeal bond on a conviction of first-degree murder? Mr. Levy, get a grip on yourself.
Your Honor.
Not only will there be no bond pending sentencing, but as far as I'm concerned, the pre-sentencing report is a mere formality. Mr. Hilton has been found guilty of killing a state's witness who testified in this very courtroom. He did so in cold blood and for pay. Unless the pre-sentence report indicates that he is in fact the Messiah come again, he will very likely be sentenced to life, no parole, by a Baltimore judge who for once in his life gets to leave his office feeling that his job actually matters. Mr. Hilton, are you the second coming of our Savior?
Excuse me?
Are you Jesus Christ come back to Earth?
Yeah.
And anyways, Eileen Nathan is very happy with the outcome. She gives Omar, kind of a get out of jail free card up to aggravated assault.
Yeah,
What she
yeah.
says. And it kind of ends with McNulty coming up, over Omar's shoulder and being like, did you even see him shoot? And, I don't know why they didn't need that. We know McNulty. That was unnecessary,
Yeah.
I thought, because obviously McNulty doesn't really care if he's lying or not.
Right.
Better not to know anyhow.
Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, that whole sequence was great.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And of course Omar's line to Bird.
Yeah. Oh,
just-
you think on
Yeah.
Brandon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and for those, obviously, like if anybody's listening now, like this is just a callback to a season ago.
Yep.
And so you have to watch season 1 to kind of understand that
Right.
reference.
Exactly.
Although it kind of stands on its own, but
It does.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great overall scene. Very satisfying to see.
Very satisfying.
Yep.
Yes. This is one of those things where it felt like not prologue. Like instead we were like finishing a
Yeah,
story. Like
exactly.
we were finishing a storyline from before.
Yeah.
To me. So, but as I said, there are a lot of other things that are prologue going on.
Okay. So now that we've wrapped up the Omar storyline,
Yeah.
I did want to ask you a question.
Sure.
Just now that you kind of see how it all has played out, I wanted to see like your reflection back on McNulty's choices so far this season, right? So Bunk asked him repeatedly for a connection to Omar.
Yep.
And then McNulty says, I never lost him, even though he didn't know where he was. And so and now it all kind of comes together and it's now closed. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you think back on that, if it changes your opinion about why he was doing it and what his motivation was, or still feels consistent with what you had said
What his
before.
motivation was for lying about
Yeah,
having a
exactly.
beat on Omar. Yeah, I think so. Because I feel like it was. I don't know if it's like. Well, I guess I'm not totally sure. I mean, part of me thinks it's bravado, and I never lost control in the first place. That's just not something I do, and also kind of buying time.
Yeah. Okay.
A little bit. So, but I think that is in line with what I thought
Okay.
earlier.
Yeah. Okay. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure. Yeah. I think for me, I was looking back and thinking, I think he didn't want to put the business away. He wanted to hold on to it for a little while longer.
Yes. I think that is, that when I say buying time, to
okay.
be to continue feeling like murder police.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like what he says with the Jane Doe
Yeah. Exactly.
later.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, shall we move on?
No, please do.
Okay. So let's talk about Post-its patterns. Kusa and Patapsco. I just love saying that. Okay. The team's reporting what they have on Sabatka to Daniels, which is basically nothing. He doesn't live a flashy life. Freeman does point out that the union is not doing well. Hardly anyone is paying dues, but somehow they're paying $70,000 to various PACs and democratic organizations, which is kind of interesting. Like in this day and time, unions and Democratic Party were really aligned before, and that's like a lot of people who are in unions now are more red.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we could look that up, but I feel like that's been a change in more recent change.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, totally different thing.
Sure.
But the hands don't seem to be connected. Beatty says, maybe it's what they're bringing in on these ships. And so Daniels kind of puts a plan of action together. He tells Kima and Prez, I want you to look at the girls to figure out what's going on with these, Russian strippers. Kima is more than happy to do that. Herc asks Beatty on a date at the end of that meeting and is denied. It's great. I seriously have a soft place for Thomas.
Okay.
But I do love Beatty just holding up her coffee mug and being like, got some, thanks. So good.
Yeah, it's cringy.
Yeah.
It's cringy, but of course, with that it happens to Herc makes it worth it.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. He's such a character.
Yeah.
I'm coming to love him so much
And
for all his faults.
I don't know what his comment about making soup,
Yeah,
but it's
soup with her
gross.
panties.
I don't need to know what it
Carver's
means. But
face afterwards, just like, oh God. And Carver's a slob. Like that he's bothered by that is saying something.
Yeah, I mean, I think I gotta just appreciate a comment where I have no idea what you mean, and yet I'm still disgusted as you probably intended. So good job.
I know.
Good job.
I know. So much fun.
Yeah.
I do love seeing them all together. They're working on this case.
Yeah, exactly.
And figuring these things out.
Yep.
Okay. Let me see here. So, oh my God, Shardine.
Yeah, she's
Shardine
back.
is the next scene. I was so happy. I was like, oh my God, Shardine, your hair is shorter. You look so pretty in your sweater. Anyway, so Shardine is in her home that she lives in, obviously with Freeman, where there's lots of very old world furniture, woods and dark leathers, just like you would expect for Freeman. Anyways, Kima's there talking to her. We find out Shardine is going to nursing school.
Adorable.
I know. It's so wonderful. Freeman's encouraging her, and he's got a way of, making you do something, making you think you're doing it.
Yep.
Anyways, Kima's looking for a connection to the world of dancers, somebody who might know, when these Russian girls come in, or these Eastern European girls really come in, and they're dancing. Where are they dancing? What's going on with that? Shardine says she does have a connection for Kima. If I ask her, she'll talk to you. So that is what's going to happen next. They're going to go to the club where Shardine's friend lives. But Cheryl's not happy with that. Cheryl's pretty pissed off, not just because her girlfriend is going to a strip club, but also because Kima is doing the kind of police work that is not behind a desk anymore.
Yeah.
And she decides she's going to go to the strip club too. Yeah, maybe she'll see something she likes.
Yeah.
That was so funny, though. I just love her little pouty, just like, I'm not going to stand for this.
Yeah.
It's very cute of that couple. I mean, I know, like, really, it's, that she doesn't trust Kima is not okay, but it is kind of cute to watch their banter.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, yeah. So one question for you.
Yeah.
So Kima's hair.
Yes.
That's done up, right?
She looks hot.
Okay. I just had to make sure. I was like,
she looks really good.
Okay.
And I think I, too, would be like, why do you have to look so, why can't your hair be back in a bun like it is when you're working? So the good call, Chris.
Even I,
right.
as a guy, if like her hair was in a messy ponytail, I'd be like, okay, she's not.
She's looking good.
Yeah, and then meanwhile, like Prez is showing up, and he could not look frumpier. It was
okay. Prez in this next scene, because they're in the strip club. Kima, Cheryl, and Prez are in the strip club, and Prez is super uncomfortable. He's not like looking in the direction, like he's actively looking away from all the dancers. And they're like, "Have you never been in a titty bar?" And he's like, "I've just never been in one with other women." Anyways, they end up talking to Shardine's friend, and she tells them about Russian women who have come and danced at the club, how just like suddenly 1 month they're there for the whole month, and that they let go of some of the other dancers. And she also gives some details, to them, but for us as well as the audience about what life is like for these girls, right?
Yeah.
So the men are always with them. They are taking them to the hotels. They are taking to them strip club. They are, controlling any Johns that are there. She says she saw one get lit up by a stun gun for just walking down the street to go to a store or something. So, they are really just under this very oppressive thumb, right?
Yep.
Like this entire time. And, we heard about how much money these guys like the Greek are making off of these girls. So no wonder they're trying to keep them from getting away.
Chris, ever been to a titty bar?
Yeah, sure. Not with women.
You sure you're not gonna have a problem for talking to us here?
I don't give a shit. You friends with Shardine, all that matters. Besides, I'm from Westport, and I told them club owners straight up. I was here before them hoes got here, and they better make sure I'm here after they leave.
So, how long ago did they come through?
6 months back was the last batch. Russians, I think, but shit all sound the same. You can't understand a damn word, right?
Who brought them?
Club owner pays extra for them. There was a woman. She was like the madam who handled the cash, but I ain't get a name.
She Russian too?
She was something. She had an accent.
So it's like one day all Baltimore girls are at the bar, and the next, what, all foreign girls?
That's about right. They was making so much money with them new girls, they started letting some of their regular dancers go. Not me, because I got clientele here, but some of the others.
Where'd the girls stay?
Where they told shit. They ain't here legally. They don't know shit. They ain't got no family. The men they got handling them are always with them. Right there to take them from whatever motel you're using to the club and back. Right there when they need to go get food or go to the Rite Aid. Right outside the fucking motel door when they're up there in the motel rooms with the Johns.
Anyone try to get away?
Shit. I seen one of them get lit up with one of them stun guns just for going down the block to get some dinner. I mean, they barely let them girls go to the bathroom by themselves. And if they see one getting too close to the Johns, that's when they move the whole crew to another town, you know? Keep it so they don't get no help.
You up after the next song?
Push my numbers then. I gotta go get paid, honey.
Final note on that scene, the I don't remember what the name of the dancer, but she does say to Cheryl, you know, you her girl.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let mine come either.
Yeah.
Which is vindication for Cheryl.
You her girl?
Yeah.
I wouldn't let mine come in here either without me. These bitches in here are no joke.
Yep. Yeah, and Cheryl's response, yeah. Just,
Yeah.
oh my God, so good. Yeah. So, yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, it's really enlightening. Like, I didn't have any idea about, you know, if there were women that were being trafficked working on the stripping circuit, like why they wouldn't be able to get away.
Right.
So it's really,
and that was a good way to convey that information.
Yeah.
I think, and also that allows, because in that moment, Cheryl is hearing about this for the first time. And in the next scene, Kima takes Cheryl to, I guess, Patapsco, and they're looking at cans, and she's telling them about the conditions.
Yeah.
You know, this one bathroom and not enough air. And, you know, Cheryl, I mean, she seems a little unaffected, but, you know, Kima's trying to say, like, this is why I feel called to do something about this case. I don't know so much that it really is the case, and, you know, that she really misses, you know, active police work. But I think, you know, Cheryl needs to hear that so she can understand part of why Kima does this work.
That's interesting, because I made a connection to McNulty's motivation about trying to find the Jane Doe. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So, but you felt like it was just, I mean, first and foremost.
I think it's part of that too. I think she has a sense of duty as a protector. Of people, too. But I do think, you know, when Daniels is coming up and being like, I need you on this case, and she's wanting to get out from behind a desk and get to work with her favorite people again. That weighs in there.
Okay, no, I think I think you're right. I mean, first and foremost is to do the job,
right?
And then if there's something noble or no, you know what I mean, like you're not just going after drug addicts or drug dealers, you're going after 13
women like
14 murder cases. Yeah, that's a whole separate thing. So, yeah, okay, I see that, and I think that I'm trying to think. Did you feel like? Sorry if you said this right, but like, did you feel like the message was getting through to Cheryl, or how did you read it? I
couldn't tell.
Okay,
I just couldn't tell because she, like I said, she looks kind of unaffected, and she sort of walks off a little bit like she's mad. So. You know, I don't know if it's like resignation, like, okay, well, she's got to do this and I get it now. Or if it's just like, it's just another, I don't know. I couldn't tell.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I was trying to, so I'm reading so much into this, but when the stripper
we
asked
read
her,
so much into everything in this, Chris.
That's true. That's fair.
What did you think about that time that he took the deep breath?
Right.
What did you think about that? Okay,
well, if you look at how his eyes are at a 45-degree angle. No, so but I'm thinking about when the stripper asks her if she's her girl, and Cheryl crosses her arms in front of her, like this is a defensive mechanism.
Yes.
And so part of it is like, well, I mean, obviously the stripper, I don't think she has a name. I don't think she's given a name, but she, like the way she asks, it's so like almost like an attack.
It is. It is.
So I don't know if that's it, but
like she's hot.
Yeah, exactly. But I also think that there's something about, I wonder if she's like trying to like protect the notion that she still wants to hold on to this the safe route. You know what I'm saying? Where she's like, she just learned about basically how these women are exploited.
Yes.
And so now she has to like try to hold on to a reason for Kima not to do the job.
Yeah.
And so then Kima explains to her, gives her the picture, the reality check of what actually happened. And now she has to like continue to process it, but she's in such an emotional place that when she from where she's coming from, like the hospital that she talked about and
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. So that's where I was like, I think it was getting through, but I also think she's fighting it because she has all this history that's baked into it. So
Yep.
yeah. Dominic West and Michael K. Williams just could not say enough about the actor who played the stripper. Her name, I found it. Her name is Tori Hunter.
Oh, okay.
Which unfortunately there was a baseball player named Tori Hunter. So it's actually I couldn't search her up easily.
Individual.
So
Okay, yeah.
anyways. So anyway.
Yeah, she was great.
She was great.
Okay. Well, let's see here. Beatty, Bunk, and Freeman are showing Daniels the computer and the offloading records. They see that the can that the women were in appears lost when it comes off the Atlantic Light, and then it is unaccounted for 4 hours before it shows up again. And they kind of tell Daniels what Sabaka has said about how cans can get lost, that they can lose a signal or punch the numbers in wrong. Anyways, what they find out is that they're going to have to go through all the cans that have disappeared and look for a pattern. And over 2 years, they're talking about hundreds of ships that they'll have to do this for. So it is clearly going to be very taxing. And we get this kind of series of these other scenes where, like Freeman is putting Post-it notes on printouts.
Yeah.
Beatty's eyeballs look like they're going to fall out when she's just staring into the computer.
Yep.
Bunk and Freeman and Beatty I should say that like Bunk is getting annoyed with Freeman. Freeman is, bouncing this tennis ball annoyingly in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have just grabbed that fucking ball and just broken it. I cannot stand that sort of repetitive behavior.
Okay.
Anyways, so they're just, they do a really nice job of just showing how taxing
Absolutely.
this work
Yeah.
is. And this is a lot of police work, right?
Yeah.
A lot of it is just this boring, going through data, looking at records, finding patterns. Anyways, they're almost through 2002. And at this point, Bunk has had it. He says he's got to go get a drink.
Yeah.
And finally, I think that they make Freeman and Beatty, I think, figure something out. What is it? 22 ships all on the telco line and all with Horseface working the ship. So they are starting to be like, okay, now we've got a pattern.
Yeah.
And so the three of them go and show Daniels, and they're talking about Horseface is the guy that's been working on all of these Pacusa, and well, did you guys bring him in? Yeah, they grand juried him, but he didn't talk. And throughout this scene, actually, oh God, Bunk is getting these waves of nausea that are just that they make me physically sick to watch them.
Oh yeah.
It is so convincing. Like it is that, the contagiousness of puke face.
Sure.
And I'm just like, I had to look away a couple times like, oh my God, he is doing this so convincingly. Yeah. Anyways, the pattern that they have figured out, what is going on is it has eliminated the need for a paper trail.
Right.
For the guys at the dock. And so, regardless, there appears to be some kind of connection to Sabaka because of all of this, right? Sabaka is there. Pacusa works for him. And, these three, they still are saying, can we please fold these investigations together?
Yeah.
We have to bring them together. But Daniels doesn't want to do that because... Daniels is still Daniels, and adding 14 homicides is going to make, if they don't all get solved, it's going to make it difficult for him to get a major case squad. So that is frustrating because you would think that at this point, this could be wrapped together. But he does say, okay, well, what do we need to do next? And there is at least a next step, which is to clone the computer. So hopefully there is hope that these investigations will be folded together once they clone the computer and get some more information. Especially since we know from the previous episode that they, Frank's getting 3 times the money. So we know this is going to happen again.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, so they're going to see something, I think.
Yeah.
Prediction.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll write that down a little bit later. But, yeah. So your comment about the vomiting and the dry heaves.
Dude,
I was like, what else did they talk about in that scene? I couldn't remember. I can't remember anything because it's like I just
because all you do is like watch him and just like go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Go to a toilet.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. So I thought that the 3 different scenes of them looking at the computer. So first Bunk is playing with the tennis ball and he hits Freeman.
Oh, that's
so
right. That's what it was.
And then and I think it's that scene and Beatty is asleep sleeping on the desk in the background and then it switches and so that's And so I think you're right. Like at first I was like, oh, so they're talking about having to look through hundreds of ships. So they set up this challenge. And I thought like at the time rewatching, I was like, oh, they kind of figured this out in the same episode. I was kind of like, but so that was kind of interesting that they set up the challenge and then resolved it essentially.
I know, in the same
immediately.
episode, which they don't normally do.
Yeah. But just to rewind to last episode when Freeman and Bunk are talking to Daniels the first time and they're saying this is, homicide is not a place to sprawl a case. Right. I was kind of thinking they were talking metaphorically, but it's literal. It's literal. Yeah. I mean, and they've got computers there to do all the DNR stuff. So so now that actually made a little bit more sense.
Yeah, they got tons of printouts they're laying out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
So just, I didn't even think about the physical space was an actual thing. Point. Like, yeah. So anyway, so it really just kind of brought it home. Like when Freeman said we have enough space, I was like, you kind of can read it both ways. So anyway, that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And then, so for Daniels, let's see, I get the sense that you think that he's being, what's the word?
Well, he's just kind of still being like like seeking to, get a better position, a better title, a better, like he was before when he was, trying to be, a higher rank in I don't know. I mean, I know in this case, he really just wants to get out of evidence. So it's not like but just the fact that he, wants everything to look so good is frustrating to me.
Okay.
But I mean, I get it. But it's, I guess for me, I have the privilege of being the viewer that sees all sides of this. I'm like, just put them together. You'll solve it faster. It makes sense. But,
yeah. So
I don't know. Do you not think that is like when I say Daniels being Daniels, am I being too harsh?
Well, first of all, it's your perspective, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so thankful that we're doing this, because as the viewer, as someone who's seen the show and knows kind of the future, I have that is baked into my perspective as well. So I think your perspective is really valuable in that case because I'm looking at it with through different glasses. Yeah. So more than anything else, I wanted to try to understand that and make sure that it was to see if any listeners are have that same kind of perspective. Yeah. So
I guess what I don't like is he says I a lot. I don't come out looking too shiny. I have to blah blah blah, and that is, that is problematic to me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, but that's your perception of him so far, and so we'll see how that plays out. So okay, cool.
Okay.
Just got. I had to just kind of I just wanted to double check that. I was going to provide my perspective, but I think as I said, I'm seeing it through a different lens, and so I'm not sure it's as valuable. Right. So I want to see how that continues to evolve, if at all.
Okay.
So, okay.
We shall see.
Okay, excellent.
Anything else on that?
Do I have any? Dominic West said that the scenes they did in front of the computer was 5 a.m. and he was like, Wendell Pierce could barely keep his eyes open.
So that's why they do look so.
Yeah, exactly. So
completely exhausted.
So it was just pretty funny. But no, I think you covered it all. So,
okay, great. Okay, well, let's get to Nick. Nick, the negotiator. He is back at the Greek deli, and Spiros introduces him to Eitan, who Nick thinks looks Greek, but who is actually Israeli. So real nice. Very, culturally insensitive, but whatever. It seems like Eitan is the one who actually wants the chemicals. Mm-hmm. Nick says that they can't get the chemicals quite yet because Ziggy's got this little issue with the messed up package and a guy named Cheese. And, Spiros looks at, Eitan, it's just like Malaka, idiot.
Yeah.
Just, Yep. Malaka, right? We all know some Malaka. Anyway, so Spiros says, you want me to kill him?
Yeah.
You want me to kill him? Nick says no. And has good reasons. He's like, if you kill him and then that solves that problem, but later somebody holds a grudge and, it becomes a bigger problem. Mm-hmm. The fact is we do owe him $2,700 because he did mess up the package. I would just like you to be the muscle so that we can make things right.
Right.
And, throughout this too, it's like, and Spiros has said this multiple times, they see Nikki as smart and Nico, they call him, right? Smart and clever and like somebody that they can kind of trust. And I feel like it goes a little bit to his head.
Oh, yeah.
In this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And probably the future too.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something very interesting about Nick wanting to still try to be honorable.
Yeah.
You know, like we want to pay what we owe, the $2,700.
Yes.
Like, there's really something to that. You know what I mean? And
I know.
Yeah. And then, but, you know, and so there is a practical side as well, which he explains. And of course, like, and I do that little point to the head. Like,
I do love that.
Time.
Yes.
Just smart. Yeah. So, yeah. But I just think that's interesting about, you know, the combination of the two things. Like, he's okay with committing crime, smuggling stuff off the pier, but he also wants to act with some honor. So, yeah. I don't know. The scene overall is really good. And I just, enjoy that.
Well, Nick is watching as Sergey talks to Cheese.
Yeah.
This involves pulling weapons out, but Sergey does end up talking Cheese down to not even the $5,400, not even the $2,700, but to them being paid for the car that was taken and damaged. So, wow, that's great.
Yeah, that's
that is
a
whole different ball game.
Yep.
Anyway, Sergey says, we don't know him, but we know his boss.
Yeah.
And I love that because I was surprised to see this in the next scene there. Sergey and Nikki and another large guy in the background come and visit Prop Joe.
Yeah.
And I was so happy to see Prop Joe again.
Joe. He's back.
He's back.
Yeah.
Great character. And, Sergey and Prop Joe clearly have a rapport with each other. They're kind of shooting the shit at first. Prop Joe's like, is this the guy with the Camaro? And even though Nikki is told not to talk, he says, no, that's my idiot cousin.
Yeah.
And, they're kind of looking at him like, don't talk. But Prop Joe can relate. He, too, has some family members that, the way that Prop Joe says it is just fabulous.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
He can relate because he has family members that are problematic as well. Prop Joe does explain why Cheese was justified in making an example of Ziggy. He can't just let people take advantage of him.
Yeah.
He can't let some little white boy take advantage of him. What's going to happen to his business? And anyways, they give him some money for the Camaro, and Prop Joe does say, basically, if you did not have these connections, you would be dead.
Yeah.
You would be dead coming here and asking me for this. So, yeah.
Sorry. Nicky is with us, his cousin. But the family cannot be helped.
Who you telling? I got motherfucking nephews and in-laws fucking all my shit up all the time. And it ain't like I can pop a cap in their ass and not hear about it Thanksgiving time. For real, I'm living life with some burdensome niggas. So what the fuck? You ain't pay my boy Cheese and Cheese ain't paying me, right? I ain't talking about all the money in the world. But it ain't like Cheese be in a position out on that corner to let your cuz exemplify shit. You feel? The man cut you some slack and soon every fucking up white boy be on his titty.
We want to pay what we owe. 27 anyway. And we're gonna have it soon enough.
Your man doubled it, though.
He also burned the car. Now, the blue book on that Camaro is 51.
Now, let me understand. You gonna come up in here having fucked up a package, asking me to tell Cheese who you fucked it up on to pay you out $2,400.
He gets to keep the Camaro.
Just how good a friend is this motherfucker to y'all? The Cheese ain't gonna be happy having to pay me back. So I would advise y'all to give him some distance.
Just so we don't come back on my cousin. Anyway, thanks for being straight on this.
Fool. If it wasn't for Sergey here, you and your cuz both would be cadaverous motherfuckers.
Yep. So let's back up just a little bit.
Yeah.
So just wanted to mention that the actor who plays Sergey is his name is Chris Ashworth.
Okay.
From Virginia.
Oh.
So really convincing.
Okay.
Actor, which I just appreciate. And of course, like in that scene with Cheese, the way they play it all out.
Yes.
Again, I just one of those things where they could have used a bunch of words.
Yeah.
Instead, it's all show.
It's just all show.
It's great stuff.
Yeah.
And then the song that's playing when that happens is called "The Game Is Over" by St. John.
Okay.
Which I just number one, the game is over. It's pretty self-explanatory, but also the game, reference to the game. Just thought it was, okay. I got to give it a little call out. So that's the only music I wanted to mention. But then we'll talk about the meeting with Prop Joe.
Okay.
So this is one scene where I look on about season 2 and think this is one of the reasons why I like this season so much. There are scenes like this sprinkled throughout, and this is just, I mean, it might be the best scene in the entire season. I don't know. I'll have to, I have to think back on and do a bunch of math and stuff to figure it out if that's the case. But, just the way that they approach it, right? So first of all, I'll just mention that Tovarich is what Sergei calls Prop Joe when he walks in. Tovarich means comrade in Russian, so just kind of interesting. But yeah, you see the banter between Prop Joe and Sergei. It's terrific, just terrific.
I know, he's like, "Oh, you look like you lost weight."
Yeah, exactly. Sergei looking back at Nick when Nick speaks up before he's sort of told, and he just to silence him. He, beautiful.
Yeah.
And then of course Robert Chu plays Prop Joe. I mean, every line he delivers is unbelievable.
Yes,
I mean,
fabulous.
it's like, somebody wrote those words down. I just can't. It's hard to imagine. And so, and I think this the cap on the whole thing is Nick says he also burned the car, and Prop Joe looks at him, and he kind of knows what the game at this point, what Nick is basically saying.
Yeah.
Nick says the Blue Book value was 5,100, but he's already gone there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he looked at it as Cheese did what? I don't think so. I think he's like, so you want money for this car that got burned. It's just kind of crazy. I mean, Nick's comment of like, he gets to keep the Camaro.
Yeah, he gets to keep
kind of
the
funny.
Camaro.
So anyway,
Totally
I mean,
fair.
just the whole scene, all the dialogue, and then Sergei pointing him to leave. It's all just amazing stuff.
It is great. It's like fun, and then it's uncomfortable.
Exactly.
And,
Yes. Yeah. That's exactly it. And I think that's again this episode having that dialogue in there of it being both funny, a little bit lighthearted, but also at the end, like you'd be a cadaverous motherfucker.
Yeah.
So
great.
just great stuff. So sorry, I've been, I'm sorry if I'm just talking all the time about this, but like, this is actually the scene where I've been thinking about this scene for I don't know how long about talking about it. Cause I just love it so much. It's so good beginning to end, and it's not very long, but it just, it just really does so good.
Yeah.
So, and I think that there's something also about, Nick, the way that he interacts with Prop Joe, to me is a reason why they decide to go this route of trusting Nick with drugs and paying him with drugs, because he clearly is not intimidated by this. So,
yes, he's not. And two, Nick, when he kind of comes in and sees them interacting, like he's kind of smiling and a little at ease. And I think he's kind of like, oh, they're just like me in a lot of ways, right? So like I can fit in at this level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, that's all. Those are all my thoughts. Anything else? Anything else?
No,
Okay.
no. I am going to take a little aside here to talk about Frank, just because of the timing of everything that happens next. We see in one scene Frank is talking to all the union guys. He tells them that there's money in the city's transportation budget for the grain pier and possibly dredging on the main shipping channel, but not the canal. And some of the people in there are not so sure. They don't really believe that's going to be the case. It's a big if, they say. And somebody asks him how he got the money for the lobbyists. Oh, the national office and timely donations. This is where I'm saying, like, Frank has this poker face that is amazing. He's like quickly, I'm, been robbing liquor stores and whatever. Like he is instantly getting people at ease and to just trust him and to get off the subject and move on to the next thing. Anyway, so, basically he's like, it's possible if the area isn't developed by Krawcheck, I think they said, for the condominiums, after everybody leaves, he does get a warning from one of the guys. It's just like, you need to be careful with these donations and all that, better watch your back. So again, it's just like Frank is hanging on by a thread, but he's hanging on. Like he's doing everything he can. Frank and the other guys are later at Dolores's, and they're telling old stories. And they tell one about Benny, who got hit with a giant piece of metal. It is clearly an old story that has been told 1,000 times. Everybody knows, everybody's filling it in, right? Like, it's just one of these, old yarns that these guys love. But Ziggy's at the end of the bar and he's like kind of listening and like, just like, his face is kind of like same old is what I kind of read it as. And then Nick comes in and hands him a wad of cash, and he, like, his dad had just bought a round for everybody there, and then he, as soon as he receives the cash, he buys a round for everybody. Oh, just like my dad. And then he takes one $100 bill and he sets it on fire and lights his cigar with it. Nick is just like, what the fuck? Frank gets up and he sees it and he's just like, nah, I'm gonna go now. Yeah, man. Ziggy, god damn, he is so good at being so incorrigible and obnoxious and just you just get so mad. So mad.
No, I hear you. So
he's so immature. Like, there's just nothing you can do to a person like that. You can't slap sense into them, that you cannot change.
Yeah, so I actually separate those two things, the two acts. I had of buying the bar around, and then setting him on fire.
Yes.
Okay, you do as well.
Yes.
Or how do you just
do
you distinguish
between those? I don't know. Buying the round is, I don't know, almost like I don't know what it is. It's almost like a fuck you to Frank a little bit. Like, you do it, I can do it too. Look at me. I'm capable. And then, I don't know, later on we'll talk about it, but he says, burning the money was just smiles. I don't know. This is one of my questions for you. I don't know what the fuck he means by that. So we can talk about that more in a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. What do you see those as two separate acts as well?
Yeah. I mean,
and how do you view them?
Well, so the buying the round, I think, is to me kind of trying to be part of the club.
Oh, you think
of
so?
These guys.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so, because then another guy says the next round's on me.
Oh, that's true.
So I feel like
it's
when he and so I think I'll have to connect it. I'm going to leave it there because I think that the next conversation with Frank and Ziggy is really helps me tie it together.
Okay.
But I think that the lighting the $100 bill on fire is him just like, it's almost like he's getting a Born to Lose tattoo on him. Like, you literally have no car. Your car just burned. And so you just can't appreciate the fact that you have a little bit of breathing room.
Right.
Instead, you just set it on fire again. So that's why I kind of separated the two things. So, I think that comes from hindsight, though. I know when I first saw it, I was like, I kind of connected the two things. And they're just being like, he just wants to get burned through his money as fast as he can. But it was really more about, I don't think he just understands all of the work that went into the getting him money, right? The fact that Nick had to go and confront Cheese with no help, and then he's working with Vondas and Aton and Sergey to get Cheese to back down from the 54. Nick did all this work. And Ziggy sees this wad of cash. He's like, "Oh, sweet! Look how it just showed up in my hand. It's crazy." So that's why I separate the two things.
Yeah.
So anyway,
okay. Well, Ziggy comes out of the bar. I love it. You see like the Domino Sugar sign that's very in the background. And Frank's been waiting for him, and he tells him more work could be coming soon, and he chastises him for lighting money on fire in front of, quote, working stiffs. He said that, like I said, he says, what was that? And says, just a smile. And, Frank kind of expresses that he wants to do right by his kid and giving him more work, but he has to follow seniority. He has to be fair about everything. And then Ziggy takes some time. He talks about his memories of his dad and his uncles and Pop. And I remember you guys talking about work and arguing and picketing and all these other things. The things that he recalls is a lot of, things dealing with strife and times that people died trying to do their work or stand up for their work, right?
Seniority prevails, Zig. It's the only way to keep it halfway honest.
I know. I ain't complaining. I wish I could give you more. But I can't.
I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. But I can't. I wish I could give you more. You don't think I want to throw you more?
Oh, you throw plenty.
It's just, Christ, Zig. Maybe if I'd have listened to your mother, because she's the one always
Pop,
talking about you should do
it's
the
cool.
community college like your brother.
Pop, don't. You want to know what I remember? Do you? I remember you, Uncle Jerry, Uncle Walt, P-Pop, all sitting around the kitchen table talking shit about this gang and that gang. Who's better with the brake ball? Who could turn it around faster? Who's lazy? Always a fucking argument, right?
For Prologue, 6 opinions.
I remember when yous all went down to pick at them scabs at Covington Piers. How Jackie Taylor got run over by the police car in the middle of that whole goddamn mess. I remember when the Prosecco fell during that windstorm. You remember, right? Killed Fat Rick dead.
Yeah, what else you remember?
Everything. Everything.
So tell me, Mr. Back in the day, what the fuck are we doing down here with the war frats in the middle of the goddamn night?
Beats the fuck out of me.
So this is what has stuck with him, which is really, it's sad, you know, and, you know, Frank's like, maybe I should have, you know, like your brother and made you go to community college instead of trying to do this instead. You know, he's trying to do right by his son. I'm trying to understand him, which he just can't.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's like a tender scene, but it's, you know, and at the end it was like, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
And it is he's kind of sweet, but it's also just, I don't know, you do get a little bit more understanding for why Ziggy is the way that he is. He's still just, you know, he pisses me off and just makes me cringe so much. But you get this understanding of, you know, like what Ziggy has seen is that this work, you know, his future life in this is going to be hard.
Yeah.
Just hard. And he just knows that. And that's what he set himself up for, unless he can make something else happen.
Yeah. Okay. So, sorry, just, you said that you learned a little bit more. Like, what do you feel like you understand now that you didn't understand before?
Just, you know, like, I'm just saying, like, when you hear that what Ziggy remembers is, you know, not like marveling at the ships and, you know, what his dad does and all that. So like a little boy might.
Yeah.
What he remembers is listening to them and talk about this guy died because he got hit by this. And even the story in the bar that they're telling is somebody who got injured doing his work. Like it, and, you know, like if that is what you hear and that's what you know is your future.
Yeah.
God,
yeah,
man, that's gotta weigh on you, and that is why you got to be like, I'm gonna sell drugs instead or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't, of course, excuse like all of his, you know, hedonism, but it's something that made me understand him a little bit more as a character.
Okay, because the reason why I asked that is I think I'm coming at it from a little bit angle, but who knows? I don't, you know, I think that I think mine is much more of a reach for sure, but I would think about seeing the older men in my life when I was a kid. And, you know, I think it's a natural thing to look up to them.
Right.
And so I think that...
Oh, you think he's... Okay.
I think that's part of the thing. It's like, I'm like, because you're like, why are you doing something else? Like, why are you still wasting your days, you know, waiting for a ship, you know, or like 18 ships.
So it's a little more putting them on a pedestal.
And I think he's aspiring to that.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of that's why I was saying like buying a drink for the bar, it makes him feel like part of that club kind of thing.
That's an interesting take. Yeah.
Anyway,
no, I can see it. I can see it.
And so, and I think that, and so, you know, and I think that there's something, it definitely like feels like the way he's talking about it's like heroic. The way that Frank, like they go down and they pick it and they get in, you know, they get in run over by cars, just, you know, to fight for their livelihood.
Right.
And the livelihood itself is inherently dangerous. Now, you know, and you know, when he's talking about the Prosecco is a type of crane. I had to look that up.
Okay.
And so when it fell over, like that's what happens. Like those giant cranes, like they can fall over during windstorms and stuff.
Okay.
And so, you know, it's because it's not a desk job where you're safe all the time. It's dangerous. that is something else that you can kind of aspire to. By being here, I'm kind of doing this heroic work. So
Mm-hmm.
to me, that's sort of, the what I think is that really inherent motivation for him.
Okay.
Now, the fact that he doesn't kind of connect that to doing hard work, doing work well, is that's a character flaw.
Yeah.
But, so that to me, like I didn't think about the scene quite as much but this time through, I really felt like it did kind of help me understand what his motivation was. And I think like that's how I'm kind of going to take away from it. So I also just have to say that Chris Bauer and James Ranso, the two actors, I mean, they're just so good. And I'm saving this for a little bit later in the season, but James Ranso talks he talks about Chris Bauer and how Bauer, being an older actor, really gave him a lot of guidance. And here's, you kind of see a little bit of that first kind of interaction between the two. So it's a again, a really good scene, and the two actors really do a good job. So I really felt it, I think, a lot more this time, kind of paying attention to it a little more closely. So
cool.
Okay.
All right. Well, last scene for these guys. Nick, Johnny, and Ziggy have brought the chemicals to Spiros and Aton. Spiros says, I can just give you the money, or I can give you the payment in heroin.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny very quickly is like, I don't want any part of that.
Yeah.
But Ziggy's like, let's please do this.
Yeah,
please, can we do this? And so, God, there's like a pause in there. I did not think Nick was going to do it.
Oh, really?
I did not, because of everything that he said up to this point. But, they set him up a little bit for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
He says half and half. So Spiros gives the okay. And Ziggy very quickly is like, I can turn this around for you. And Nick says, I can do it.
Yeah.
You go watch cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
And like Ziggy is just so angry, disappointed in that moment by it. But I mean, he just burned a fucking $100 bill. I don't know what he's expecting. He's not proven that he can be responsible or anything.
Yeah.
He messed up the previous package. But I mean, Nick does come down so hard on him and so insulting that you do feel for him a little bit too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So why do you think that Nick reacted that way?
I think he just, I think now Nick is feeling like he's more of the leader. He's seeing himself as being successful in these negotiations, and he has handled situations for Ziggy already that he couldn't handle himself.
Mm-hmm.
And, things that have complicated the situation. And, it's just like when your kid is like, I'll clean it up. And then they just make it messier.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Just go back to your room.
Yeah.
I will take care of it. It's that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think the only thing I would add, I think that's right, but I'll add one component to it, which is I think is I feel like Nick is now dealing with his own conflict, right? So you have Johnny,
right,
who's sort of the angel on his shoulder, and you have Ziggy on the devil, and
oh my God,
he is now
so
made
right.
he is now he's conflicted, and that's part of. He's like, God damn it, I'm in this mess, and Ziggy's kind of responsible. I mean, I made my choice, and so that is why I just added that a little bit. But I think you're right. Like, he's now the leader, and he's like, I don't need to listen to your bullshit anymore. So
exactly,
yeah.
Anything else for these guys?
No, I think that's it.
Well, let's go to McNulty's retirement.
Okay.
Oh my, oh my, oh my. Okay, so Elena is in her real estate office. She is talking to a couple about a house they looked at, and McNulty comes in, and he is a complete ham. He is getting laughs out of her by feeling up the mannequin in the window. I think it is actually hilarious that, like, in this real estate office, they have to wear uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? So interesting. Anyways, because he's like undressing the mannequin and pretending to get it on with her. It is pretty funny. And once they leave, he says, I want dinner and a movie with you. And she relents.
Yep.
He does his little charming act, and he is a very good looking man. So what are you going to do? Anyhow, later, Diggins is expecting McNulty to get out on the boat with him now that the trial is over and it's time to do his job, to do the work that he's supposed to do with the Marine unit. But McNulty it's interesting. McNulty is like, this is retirement, right? Like, he's got something else to take care of, but this is retirement, which is very interesting. McNulty then catches up with Doc, And, you know, he says, like, I couldn't identify her.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out who she was. And so she's got to go to the unmarked grave. And that was sort of the last bit of business for that. So, I mean, I thought she was going to get identified.
Yeah.
I just didn't think she was going to get identified anytime soon. But I was like, maybe by the end of the episode or the end of the season, they know who she is. So, you know, that is just kind of, this series is not going to give you the satisfaction. They're going to keep it real. And so I do appreciate that. You know, I was disappointed when I saw like was, you know, in the morgue and just being like, no, wait,
Yep.
no, there's got to be some hope. But no, because that's what really happens.
Yep.
Right? People, nobody knows who they are and nobody will talk. And then that's what happens.
Yep.
Yeah. So appreciation for that.
Yeah.
That's hard to see.
Yeah, no, you nailed it. I mean, I think about it as like, you want every life to have some contribution to the greater thing. And, you know, it's hard to say whether this one actually, you know,
I know.
And I don't know. I'm reading totally into it, you know, whether it was McNulty trying to find justice for this woman or he just didn't want her to just float away and just be rubbed or erased from existence without anybody kind of marking it. It's sad. It's sad for him and it's sad for her, of course, obviously. And so it's just, you know, Doc Fraser's line of what the fuck ever is. It's just, man, I imagine that you develop a certain degree of cynicism.
Yeah.
So,
numbness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But I'm with you. I really thought the fact that they dedicate so much time for him tracking her down only to come up empty.
Right.
It's brutal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Bunk is drinking with McNulty. This is the point at which earlier he could not handle the data processing anymore, so he goes and gets a drink with McNulty. And Bunk tells him, like, they're orphaned and that if he and Lester don't get the 14 clearances, they cannot come back to homicide. Bunk, oh my God, he's so just what a loose cannon sometimes. You know, pretends like he's going to shoot a bottle, and it's Jimmy that's, like, stopping him, which you don't exactly expect. I always kind of feel like Jimmy's more of the loose cannon. Jimmy says he's done. He couldn't ID the Jane Doe. He's got nothing else to go on. And he does share with Bunk that he and Elena are going to try again. And I don't think she said that.
She did not.
She did not say that. She did not say we're trying again. So that's his interpretation of the situation. But yeah. God, Bunk and McNulty, when they were drunk together, I just get worried. I'm just like, somebody's going to get hit by a car or something like that. You guys are very irresponsible.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's, you know, at least they're out by the train tracks. But,
that's true.
But the line "Step into my world, Virginia" just kind of like crept into my head just now. It's like, oh, you think you're getting back together? Well, step into my world, Virginia.
Exactly.
Poor McNulty.
So true. And when we talk about like all prologue, that you know, like this is kind of like. Well, I guess maybe Jimmy sees it almost as like if there's a new Jimmy, a new McNulty who's going straight and narrow so he can get his life back, this is Prologue for him. You know, it's kind of interesting to think about.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah. McNulty and Elena are having dinner and she's still holding his drinking and cheating over him.
Sure.
Oh, just a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Again, he says, you know, I retired. You know, working this Marine unit is retirement. So no more working homicide. You know, he tells her that he wants another chance. And she says, how about a fuck for the road instead? Instead is a really important word here.
Yeah.
Instead, she says, in the place of is what that means. And so that's what they do. And they're having fun and they're laughing and they look like they're just really enjoying each other. And God, the next morning in the McNulty household, Jimmy is there with his t-shirt and his shorts and no shoes or socks on. He's reading the paper. And what you think is probably his spot that he always read the paper at the table. And, you know, she comes down, hey, girl, what are we going to do with the day? That line. Hey, girl.
Yeah.
Hey, girl, what are we going to do with the day? And she's like, I want you out of here before the boys come home.
Yeah.
And look on his face after that.
Yeah.
You know? God, what an idiot. Hopeful idiot.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean
he's gonna keep on working on it, I think. But
okay.
That's okay. We'll get into predictions later.
Interesting.
But it's like he didn't listen to her at all.
Yeah.
Dumb man.
What?
She said so many times, like,
No, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out, I'm exposing the fact that I have not had an interaction like that. I never had a one night stand or anything like that. Why did he stay over? Like, she should have kicked him out right afterwards,
kicked him out
right?
after.
Like,
yep.
why is she letting him sleep over?
No,
there?
that was not a good idea.
So
yes, yes, just like when you let the stray dog in, and they're like, "I own this place."
Yeah, exactly. So but otherwise, yeah, it's a tough scene because she could not have been more clear. That night, but of course, it's interesting. I wonder if the reverse of McNulty with Rhonda is kind of the case here, right? Like, McNulty has these strong feelings for her. So Elena's pull on him, it's not like she pulled him. He was obviously trying to push, but he kind of figured that by even getting in the door, metaphorically, anyway, that was the signal that she was gonna that response, but he was having the same reaction that Rhonda did, which is, okay, cool. Now it's all, all the things I'm hoping for.
Yep.
And instead, now he's got to deal with the regret of having gone down the road again. So yeah. It's tough for McNulty. So
McNulty.
Levy gets his comeuppance, and so does McNulty.
Yeah,
so,
no kidding, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'm going to move on to D.
Okay.
Well, a little bit of Stringer first.
Sure.
Let's start with Stringer because he's talking to a guy in his car. So he appears to be sourcing drugs from DC. You kind of have to pick up on it from their conversation. Is that what's going on?
No.
From Washington DC?
The guy is from DC.
But what is he talking to him about?
He's the guy that arranges for his cousin to kill D'Angelo.
Oh, Chris. What the fuck, dude? Did Dee die? There's no hope? I thought somebody's going to discover him in the next episode. Are you fucking kidding me?
Well,
oh my God.
I have a whole I have a whole thing about that.
Okay. All right.
Did you really think that somebody was going to find him?
I did not think this was the end of D. I did not. I thought he was too important. Oh my God, this show. Oh my God. I cannot believe that.
I
feel all hot and flushed right now. Hot flashes.
Listener, she is like her eyes and her cheeks are red.
Okay. Okay, let's just get
through
this.
Okay, because I have to tell you, I'm only spoiling 10 minutes because I've got I have a whole thing about this.
Okay.
So I'm sorry that you didn't know. I'm sorry that there was some question.
Okay.
So, but yes.
I was sure somebody was going to go in there and find him. Oh my God.
Okay. Well, I guess I could have phrased it differently because he is the guy who arranges for the guy in the prison.
Okay.
Now I've let the cat out of the bag.
Okay.
But in any case,
that's what that is. Okay.
That's
God
what.
damn.
So where did you think that guy came? You think he just?
I thought because they were still needing more drugs.
Okay.
And so I thought this was just another person that Stringer was talking to about trying to get some drugs from somewhere.
Well, sorry, but where? Okay, we'll get to the actual scene. But okay.
So let's talk about that scene really quick because that's where I was going to start. Because he asks, he comes in. I don't know. There's an exchange that goes on. I guess I was just not clear what that exchange was about. And he's like, how that DC game Chocolate City, and that's I just thought it was just talking about stuff.
Okay.
I didn't know that was, but we talked about it in the last one, and they were talking about we've been fair to him.
Yep.
Stringer and Avon saying that. I just didn't think that would happen already.
Okay.
God damn.
I mean, you did predict it though.
I didn't think it was going to happen this soon.
Okay.
I just thought it could. I guess I knew.
All right.
Because I just didn't want to believe it.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's the whole. But the whole conversation is.
Yeah.
He's talking about. Well, he's talking about my cousins up in there, so that's who the guy is, and he's like, no mistakes. God. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Shit.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay, let's just keep going.
Okay.
I'm getting over my shock. It's going to be okay. This is not a
Fair
real
enough.
person. This is a character.
This is authentic.
Okay,
this is authentic. If I had, sprung
I
it on you
did look up. I was like, what is go-go and bama?
Okay, what do you got?
Go-go is a style of music originated by Chuck Berry that is very popular in DC.
Yep.
Neighborhood-oriented music in DC. And Bama's, it's DC slang for someone who's uncool, like me right now, and unfashionable or doesn't dress well.
Yeah. So now the interesting thing is, you're right. That is correct.
Okay.
And I said that same thing when Wallace in season 1 came back from the shore.
Oh, yeah.
Because he said they did have some Bamas down there.
Oh,
but
so
my
it's-
understanding is that it also means like the dance clubs or like the those things. Like, because
Okay.
he was saying, because Wallace says they did have some Bamas on Friday nights down at the Sears parking lot. And I
Okay.
thought it was like lame people,
Yeah.
but I think it's actually like that's where the music gets played.
Well,
so.
yeah, because if he's talking about go-go and then he's
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
Bamas,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
just...
yeah, so,
yeah, why
yeah.
would he be talking about not cool,
Then he has that great,
unfriendly people?
Exactly. Then he has that great line, same soup, just reheated.
Same soup, just reheated.
Like that. So,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so they're just, and he's just kind of making conversations. Then he kind of like says,
Okay.
we got a real mystery going on. here."
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, oh my God, all this is going to be a little bit more poignant when I talk about it. D
Okay.
is looking... Oh God, this all fucking makes sense now. D is in his cell looking at a picture of his son.
Yep.
He's looking at a picture of his son in that moment. That's oh my God. All right, he peels something off the toilet.
Yep.
He deposits it into the toilet. Probably it's drugs, right? He's like,
Yep,
not going to
heroin.
do that anymore. He's in a book group. They're discussing Gatsby.
Yep.
And they give the interpretation of Fitzgerald's quote. Of course, there are no second acts in American lives. Oh my fucking God. I'm just like... It's like I have like a new, like I just lifted a veil.
I love this.
I just like
This is
wiped
great.
some film off of my eyeballs.
I mean, you're suffering, which I don't like so much, but I love the fact that we got this authentic response. That's
Oh
great.
my gosh. And it, I mean, I think like the choice of Gatsby for this book discussion is great.
Okay.
Like it makes so much sense in this moment because, like if you know the book, if you've read the book or seen the movies, right? Like Gatsby's this guy who's kind of a poser, right? Like he's from the Midwest.
Yeah, exactly.
He lives this fancy, extreme life, but how did he get his money? From bootlegging.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because he wasn't able to confront who he was, that's what led to his downfall and his death. And so here is D, who's like trying to confront what he is or was before, this is supposed to be the prologue for D and his new way.
He's saying that the past is always with us. And where we come from, what we go through, how we go through it, all this shit matters. I mean, that's what I thought he meant.
Go ahead.
Like at the end of the book, boats and tides and all. It's like you can change up, right? You can say you somebody new, you can give yourself a whole new story. But what came first is who you really are. And what happened before is what really happened. And it don't matter that some fool say you different, because the only thing that make you different is what you really do or what you really go through. Like, like all them books in his library. Now, he fronting with all them books. If we pull one down off the shelf, and none of the pages ever been open. He got all them books, and he ain't read near one of them. Gatsby, he was who he was, and he did what he did. And because he wasn't ready to get real with the story, that shit caught up to him. I mean, I think, anyway.
Dee's mom comes and visits.
Yeah.
And it's the same old thing, listen to your Uncle Avon. And that's when you see the guy who's listening in on the conversation.
Yeah.
Obviously did not realize that was the connection there. He especially looks like he's listening when he says the hot shots were Avon.
Yeah.
Right? So that's not good.
Yep.
He reminds his mom of, God, some tough mothering here. The
Right.
twins are bullying him. He wanted to come inside to get away from them, and his mom made him stay out of there and fight. And she was teaching him a lesson that you have to live your own life. And he's like, this is me living my own life for the next 24 hours or whatever. And he says, just tell all of them to leave me be.
Yeah.
And they do. They like touch hands on the window, and there's the tear in her eye.
Yep.
God. Okay. Got that?
I want you home, dear. You asked me to carry this. I'm carrying it. This is mine, right here, right now.
Oh, you ain't listening to me. I am telling you.
Ma, remember we used to live on Linden Avenue? Remember that house? I was about
6, 7 years old. Was playing on the porch. Them twins came by and started picking on me, messing with me. Remember that? I'm banging on the door, trying to get inside, and you standing right there to open the door. Except you ain't letting me inside. You told me to go back out there and fight them, whether I lose or not. Remember? They beat the shit out of you. Yeah. Then you say to me, boy, I might have brung you into this world, but you the one who gonna have to live in it. Well, Mom, I'm still here. Me. You gotta let me live like I need to live. You tell Avon, Stringer, and Donette, all of them, to leave me be.
And then Dee passes by Avon in the hallway, and Avon calls out to him, and Dee just gives him that. And then, like, there's a camera shot too, where it just like in that moment that he turns and looks at Avon, and it like pulls away, and Avon it makes Avon look like Avon's standing still, but it makes him look further away, like just kind of exemplifying the distance between him and Dee. And Dee is just giving him this like dirty look over his shoulder.
Yeah,
and you know that's not good.
Yep.
But fuck, I did not think. Okay, so then he's working in the library, and he's taking some books to the back that need repair. And when he gets there, Mr. I'm listening on your phone call with your mom comes in, makes pleasantries, and then proceeds to choke Dee with a belt, which I didn't even think you were allowed to have in prison.
Yeah.
And he sets it up to make it look like Dee like hung himself on the doorknob, just sitting down there like that. But I thought he was passed out. And then there's like another guy that comes in the library in the last scene, and I was like, maybe he's gonna open the door, and then Dee will be okay.
Yep.
And he's not.
Nope.
He's dead.
He's dead.
He's dead, Chris. Oh my God. I'm just slamming my laptop down now.
Oh, you're okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I have. I can't believe it. That's it. That's it.
Wow.
I cannot believe it.
Okay.
Well,
so
shit. Now Stringer doesn't have to worry about Donette's old boyfriend coming back.
Yeah. So.
Oh my God.
I mean, there's quite a lot to say. But sorry, what were we gonna?
Dee's mom is gonna be fucking pissed at Avon. She's gonna know. She's gonna know, and it's gonna go down.
We will mark that.
Oh my God.
So first of all, something that's interesting about this thread is that Lawrence Gilliard apparently argued with David Simon quite a lot about the death of his character. He really fought to keep it going.
He wanted to stay.
And as a matter of fact, it sounds like the fellow cast members described D'Angelo's death as even more shocking and devastating than Michael B. Jordan's killing of when Wallace was killed. So, and I mean, obviously,
yes.
Kind
oh
of
my
obvious.
God! I just can't believe it. I just didn't think it. I knew it could happen, but I just didn't think this was it.
So,
it's such a lousy death.
Yeah.
It's such a lousy death.
Yeah.
It's not like a big, being shot down by, like, Wallace is just like shot down by his friends. It's like this ultra dramatic moment.
Yeah.
This is a guy just choking him in the library room and him just being like set against the door. That's so undignified.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. Not that any of them are dignified, but I'm just saying, like, no gravitas.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I used the term gravitas in different terms previously. That's why it made me laugh. Yes. So
we like that.
You're right. So I'm going to share this point here, and I guess I need to set it up because I feel like you made the comment a couple of episodes ago, and I think it's just really important to connect to this prediction that you made because when D'Angelo turned down the offer to give up the guard, you were saying, like, I don't know why. What is Dee's story?
Yeah.
So you're like, and here you have it.
Yeah.
Right. So here's the part that I'm going to share this. It's more understanding like the philosophy of the show itself. So the reason that the book is called All the Pieces Matter, and why they say at the beginning is because in the show there's almost no component to a season, the threads, that isn't required. There is very little fluff.
Right.
You know, you do have some filler here and there.
Sure.
But basically, if you think about D'Angelo, as you accurately said,
Yeah.
what would be D'Angelo's arc after this? Like, he has made his choice.
I was thinking, like, how would he ever be worked back into the story that's going on? And I couldn't think of it. And I was like, no, I guess I'll just find a way. But no, you're right. Like,
So
the writing was on the wall.
So it's possible that you have a Chardine,
Yeah.
which is, okay,
Right.
you have a little kind of mention here or there, but she's off living her life. It's possible that D'Angelo could have just said, don't ever talk to me again. I don't want to be involved.
Yeah.
But that would have felt a little disingenuous.
I know,
and
but
so,
with Kima, I thought Kima was going to be dead. Like, you wouldn't even tell me if she was, there any hope for her. And then she was okay. She came back, you know? And I know that was another one where she was really upset about being taken off the show.
Yeah.
But that was one where I was just like, okay, I thought she was gone from that, and I was just so shocked by it. And then she made it. Like, she's still there.
Okay.
So I don't know. I guess that's
maybe you're right.
why I thought there was a little hope
I might have
for
ruined
D,
it. I don't know. I
but-
might have ruined it. But okay. So this is the interesting thing. So I guess I was gonna fuck it up one way or the other. But here's what, to me, I felt like was so interesting about the scene is, well, first of all, I did feel like they put quite a point on D'Angelo, like tying off all of the vices, and I'm saying bye, and he gets, and he's looking at his son and things like that. I felt like, okay, it's wrapping up a little bit nicely in a weird way. But nevertheless, the second piece is, I've mentioned quite a few times that the only music you hear in the show is coming from the environment, right? This diegetic style. And so I will tell you that when I first saw this scene, I saw the shadow from under the door, and then you hear the fall. That's the name of the song, the credit song. And you hear it, and that's to me where oh shit, that's it for him. So I just felt like it was really powerful to hear the end credit music, and you see the shadow under the door, and it's just like, whoa, that's when it hit me that's the end of it. So to me anyway, that's why I felt like it was really interesting. So the fact that you don't have any music, even you have to listen to him struggle to breathe, and then the kind of the grotesqueness of the belt kind of stretching as you go along. And so that part was also just part of the whole experience, I think. And that's why I felt like I didn't think I was spoiling anything by saying it, just because the fact that somebody walked by and just did, the door was closed, I just somebody would have to see. I have no idea how long you can be out. Yeah, you can go with it. I mean, it's 4 to 5 minutes.
He was now, even if he was only passed out before, now he's the belt is tightened as he's leaned his body down, so he would be going without air at that point anyway. But I just thought there was some hope.
Yep. No, well, sorry about that.
Nothing.
So
sorry about that.
No, that's okay. So, sorry, we skipped over something. So, something really, I think, actually, I just need to connect, because you talked about the Gatsby story.
Yeah.
I think I've only read it the one time.
Okay.
I should mention here that the leader of the book club his name is Richard Price, and he's an author as well.
Oh.
And he wrote a couple of really well-known books. One was called Clockers, which is kind of what got him on the radar of David Simon. It's about an inner city drug dealer and a police officer.
Okay.
So that was, and I can't remember, I'll have to look up and see why they cast him in this role. But in any case, so I think the question about Gatsby, any other interpretation about D'Angelo, his explanation, do you think that D'Angelo didn't quite understand what he was saying about himself in that, or that he didn't kind of realize that his past was still with him?
No, I think that he did, because when I was watching that, it was, to me, hearkening back to the scene of him and Donette at dinner.
Okay.
Which we, back in season 1 talked about at length, where he was kind of talking about, that you can't get away from where you come from.
Yeah.
That stays with you always.
Yeah.
And I I mean, I feel like it was that again, but also, well, maybe if you acknowledge where you come from, then you have a point to move forward. Like that was what he was starting to see by having read this novel and just having this experience of, you know, saying that he doesn't want to be a part of what the family does anymore. You know, that's, I feel like he did understand it or interpret it in a way that made sense for him.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's more, I'm trying to figure out, it's like, you know, there's no way for us to know, but like in learning about this, and then he has that interaction with Avon.
Yeah.
I feel like he's trying to get away from, like, it's not that he's trying to, he literally said, I don't want to deal with these people anymore, but he doesn't sort of realize what he was saying in the last episode about, like, that, you know, as soon as they say it's all about family, but as soon as they don't have a need for you anymore, then they're done with you.
Right.
And I feel like if he had sort of looked at it differently as like,
that's right.
I don't know, maybe he didn't sort of recognize the threat that Avon posed to him. You know what I mean? He thought he was still protected because that's what, you know, was in the past. Anyway, so I don't know. That's where I kind of got thrown. I wasn't sure if there was like more to it, but I mean, ultimately, for him, this was kind of inevitable once he kind of pushed away from the family.
But it's just like, God, so nobody can just quietly do their time. You know, it's just like, he wasn't going to snitch on anybody. He was not going to tell on anybody. He just wanted to be left alone.
Right.
And to, you know, forge a new path forward.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the missing message from him to Avon is, I'm going to carry the weight as I said I would.
Yes, I won't talk, but
that's the last thing we're doing with each other. Yeah. So it's just you know, it's sad. I mean, and he was such a likable character, but
I know,
you know, I feel like
such a great actor.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, you kind of see that like there really wasn't more to his story.
No.
So, you know, anyway. Okay, well, boy, that's you know, that was quite exciting. So
man, that just.
Yeah.
Rocked me, dude. I'm coming down, but I'm going to need a glass of wine after this.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so I guess what I'll tell you, though, is...
Well, you know, good storytellers kill their darlings.
Is that right?
That is, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to, because, like, if anything is too precious, then it's just... You know, then you're just not being true to what the story needs.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's okay. Well, at least you're coming to terms with it.
Yeah.
What I will tell you, I feel like I need. So, but it's just, to me, like, the payoff of this is quite something.
Okay.
So
I'm
how's that?
So
how's
looking,
that?
I mean, I just could barely keep myself from opening up the next episode and watching it right after this, when I thought Nee was going to be saved, but now I gotta see what happens.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, you can go watch it tonight. So that's it. Okay. So you covered The Great Gatsby. That was the biggest thing, and there were a bunch of things that I forgot about that show or that novel.
Yeah.
And that'll actually go into a little bit of my life lessons.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I read Great Gatsby in my early 20s, but I remember the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio really well.
Okay. Very good. All right. I actually never watched the movie, so
it's pretty entertaining.
Okay, yes, but as we talked about, there's I mean, the whole entire D'Angelo storyline. That's the brilliance, and I think the true, like, gift of Lawrence Gilliard and everybody they interact with. Like, just there's so much good stuff in that. Okay, but sorry, there's one other thing, because now I am actually a little off balance as well. But David Simon talks about the Greek tragedies.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you're familiar with Greek tragedies,
Just
but
some.
Okay, what's your understanding? I my understanding is very limited, but
I mean, just like a lot of it was, you know, ways to explain why and how things happen in a time that you couldn't explain things with, you know, science or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that, like, the important thing about that is to, or at least from my perspective, what I'm bringing is that they talk about basically you can't escape your fate, right? And it's kind of like you're watching this and you're watching it all unfold, and you know what's going to happen, and you're trying to figure out how they're going to escape, but it never does. And so, and David Simon talked about, like, and I don't know if that was like a direct reference when Omar is talking about the Greek myths.
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Okay. So
it is very interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
and that they pick out, the god of war for Omar is particularly appropriate.
Yeah.
But,
interesting.
Yeah.
Another connection. Well done.
Yeah.
So there's that too. So I feel like there's something about that as well, and I think that's kind of like the Jane Doe connection too. Is like, sorry, you're involved in trafficking. Chances are you're gonna,
this is the fate for you,
and it sucks, but that's what they're kind of trying to demonstrate. So, okay, so there's that. I think that was everything that I had. Let's see. Okay, we talked about that. And Michael K. Williams, just by the way, he said he got a little misty-eyed when he watched this scene, so that was too bad. So, okay, that's everything. So, okay, that gets us to our last categories. We have the killer cameos. So I had 2 nominations. There were actually a lot. That was the thing. It was like there were so many people in this episode. The DC guy can't do it because he's going to come back.
Oh, okay.
So no. But Dakota Anderson played Muggs, who's the guy who strangled Dee.
Oh, okay.
I thought he was good.
Okay, so we won't see him again.
Nope.
Okay.
But there's only one right answer.
The dancer?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Her name, as I said, her name is Tori Hunter. And
she's great.
She's so good. My God.
Yeah.
So
I know when she's like, they got rid of all these, regular dancers. Not me.
Yeah,
I got
some
clientele here.
And she's from
So
Westport.
good.
Yeah. So, also I forgot to mention. So, Prop Joe is East Side.
Yes.
And that's where Nick is based. Also, Locust Point is on the East Side too. So that I just thought that was kind of interesting too.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I also forgot to mention that Michael K. Williams was talking about he has a friend, or that took him around to some of the areas in Baltimore that were white neighborhoods, and he was shocked to see how much they resembled essentially like what the Pit was like, but but in a white neighborhood.
Oh,
he was really stunned to see that, and he said, he was one of the people that was really frustrated by the direction of season 2, and in seeing this in season this neighborhood in firsthand, he gained a lot more respect for the season because he saw that it's not just it's not based on your race. It's based on economic status, essentially, where these people live. So so when you see like the drug kind of trade start to build out that, like the guy Frog last episode, like it's very much true to form. So despite it's an entirely different neighborhood. So that was kind of interesting. Okay. And then finally talked about the music. So the Mr. Nuggets life lessons. So couple that are, I think I'm going in priority order. The first one is, for the love of God, if you meet a new coworker that is a woman, do not ask her out. I would say don't ask her out, period.
Don't ask her out, period.
Like,
so unprofessional.
I know. Yes, exactly. I mean, I don't know if you have a reference of TV shows where it works out, but I think of The Office.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, Jim and Pam were so cute. I will say that was a fucked up situation. Like you're just asking for trouble.
I know, right? Like you see each other every day.
Yeah.
And you work together.
Yeah. And hey, great. TV shows that pull that off, that's fine because it's the drama. But God, if there's no available women and you are just trolling in your pool in the your work environment, that is a problem.
It is problematic.
So that was one.
That's
but
a good lesson.
it's a minor one. Yeah. Like how many times is that going to happen? I mean, I worked at a ESPN when I first got out of college, and I remember like these 2 single women started like within a week of each other, and I felt like it was like chum in the water. I was like, oh God, because you have this very male dominated thing.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they were
everybody's like, wait a second.
Exactly. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so just be cool. Like, let's learn from Herc's mistake. The correct answer was, I'm going to go get coffee for everybody. Can I get you something? And that is the end.
That is
it. And
yes.
Okay, so you're making connection. Yes. You're being a nice person. You're going to do it anyway. You're just doing, including her. That's it. That is the end. And then see where it goes. If you really are desperate, just see where it goes.
Yep.
But anyway, okay. So that's the first one. I feel very strongly about that one because I myself have made that, not that I made that mistake, but I know that the thought went through my head.
Yeah, well, I will say that I have been on the other side of that.
Oh, really?
Having been like a new young female in a workplace and then having somebody ask me out and feeling so uncomfortable.
Sure.
So uncomfortable.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that, do you feel like is that, do you feel like that in every new work environment, you're like, I'm just going to have to deal with some fucking bullshit, some guy?
Not anymore. I mean, more because of the field of work that I'm in. But, there was a time where I was just like, okay, when is the awkward going to happen? Because it's just awkward after that.
Absolutely.
Then I have to see that guy every fucking day.
Yeah.
And just be like, you asked me out and I didn't want to go out with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So there you go. There you go, gentlemen. Just like, I mean, the Sopranos had a line. I don't shit where I eat.
Mm-hmm.
And I that sits in my head. It's like, come on. Not where you work.
At the very least, develop a long-term friendship with a person.
That is exactly it.
Yeah. And then if you're going to go that route, when I've seen it be most successful, one person moves to a different department or a different whatever.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's almost, exactly. It's almost like, God, we're going a long time, but I don't care. I don't care. This is important. It's almost like when you propose marriage.
Yeah.
The rule essentially is you better know the answer.
You better know.
If you don't know the answer, do not propose.
Yeah, you're not.
Same thing here.
Right
it's like if you're going to ask somebody out at work, it better be like you guys you are guaranteed a yes. Yeah. Like not because you're super hot, but because this person, this person and they like you and you know that they like you.
Yep.
Okay. So Herc, learn from Herc's mistake is all I'm saying. Okay. The second one is the union. Take a lesson. Stay in contact with your elected officials.
Yes.
Especially your local officials.
Absolutely.
Everybody makes a big deal about Congress and Senate and the president. They are so far away from your things. Be at your school board. Talk to your local reps that are in the state. Exactly.
Meetings, yep.
And Ellie knows all about this. I'm telling her something she already knows very well.
Yes, I agree though wholeheartedly.
Any tips for people that might be curious about what do I do?
Yeah, I think there's just like so many levels to be involved in. Like every board and commission that is in your city, you can sit in on their meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one. So it's not even like you have to wait until a city council meeting happens and something that you really disagree with, and then you go and then whatever. There's so many places to like get in the know and be aware and give your input before even that.
Okay.
And I just feel like nobody, I'm on a city library board and we rarely ever have anybody come to our meeting in a time when it's just like people are always, worried about their First Amendment rights and censorship and book banning, and it's kind of amazing to me.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you want to be in the know, if you want to be involved, there are so many avenues.
Okay.
You just have to do a little digging.
Good. Okay. Well, excellent. Well, I'm glad to hear that resonated as well. So the union, it's not just when you're fighting for your life, essentially.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And then the last one is beware the slippery slope.
Yes.
That's the one that really stood out to me. Is Nick has kind of been compromising and compromising and compromising, and now he's kind of, to me, he's stepped over a line.
I agree.
And now, because I mean, right? He talked about.
Yeah.
I don't want to stand on a corner.
Exactly.
And now here you are. So we'll see where that ultimately
you're going to be
goes.
taking half of your payment in heroin.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, it might seem like, oh, okay, well, so it's tricky, and I just feel like people make these choices, every day, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not always, I don't mean it like they're making choices like to be unethical. What's the word? It is kind of about that ethics kind of question, but it's more like not to commit crime, but it's like, look, I'm guilty of this. Like, there will be days when I'm just not effective at work. Like, I'm day after the Super Bowl, I'm reading sports and stuff like that while in between emails or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, it's not like it's stealing directly and I'm still effective at my job, but I am using company time to not be as effective as I possibly could be or something like that.
Sure.
And so, just where do you draw that line and how do you, how hard do you hold it? And,
and just like remembering your principles.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And why they are your principles.
Yeah. Yep. So that one to me, it feels like this is like the big lesson from today, I guess, is that it?
Yeah.
So, sorry, but this is less important, but I feel like the great American novels, right? Like The Great Gatsby.
Yep.
But also everything that we read in high school. Like that's when I read The Great Gatsby. I think are just complete wastes on high school students, because high school students don't know shit. They have no life experience.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to relate to a 35-year-old guy?
Right?
Like, I don't remember The Great Gatsby at all, except I remember
Yes.
Nick said it was his birthday. I just remembered it was my birthday. Like, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how do you not remember that it's your birthday? That's what I remember about that book. Like, F. Scott Fitzgerald, one of the greatest writers in the history of the United States. And I'm like, oh yeah, you wrote that book about the guy who couldn't remember his birthday. It's like some shit. Anyway, the point is, though, that like a lot of these novels are really great. And I think I'm going to connect it here that The Wire, one of the things that I really love about The Wire is every time I rewatch it, I feel like my perspective, just based on my experience in life, is different, even just by a little bit. And when I rewatch it, I pick up something new, just a new perspective on things. I mean, this whole thing with Ziggy and Frank, like, I don't think I necessarily knew what, I connected that before.
Yeah.
And so the same thing. It's like, go find those American novels that you read in high school, even though you've ticked off the boxes. Yeah, I read Sun Also Rises. Go read it again. Read it again every decade, just to remind yourself of what these guys had been trying to say, because they've stuck around for a long time for a reason, as has The Wire. So anyway, I think that's the last I got. So boy, this was a meaty episode. I know. I gotta tell you. Okay, so I know you mentioned a couple of predictions already, so I hope you don't mind me like.
Yes.
I didn't write them down.
No, I got it. So I said, let me see here. I think, Dee's mom's going to find out. She's going to be pissed at Avon. She's going to be really mad.
Yep.
I'm going to keep Pacusa getting killed out there. That could happen. Let me see here. I think I said something about, did I say something about McNulty and Elena? Oh, he's going to keep trying.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. Yep.
He's going to keep sweet talking her.
Okay. What about Nick and Ziggy?
Nick and Ziggy, golly. Okay. Ziggy's mad. He's going to do something stupid. I don't know what he's going to do. Maybe he's going to steal that heroin from Nick, but he's going to do something stupid, and it's going to involve the half of the heroin payment.
Okay.
I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll steal from. Interesting. Okay. All right, that's a good one. I feel like not much to do with Omar.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I do wonder if Bunk and Beatty, they're going to clone the computer,
There you go.
right? I think they're going to get their first hint of something with what happens at the docks. Something's going to happen at the docks. There's going to be another thing that comes in that they're going to hide. And Bunk and Beatty and Freeman are going to notice it.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to pick up on it.
Okay. I mean, that's quite a lot.
Okay.
It's
probably too much. Probably half wrong.
Well, so, but you know what? I'm gonna rerun your Death Grip rebrand.
Yes.
This time.
Because we need a chance for that one.
Okay. Unless you want to revise it.
Nope.
You sure? Okay.
I do not.
Okay. Death Grip rebrand will work. Okay, cool. All right. Well, and then do you want to put another bumper sticker question out there?
Yeah, I do. I think it's time for another bumper sticker.
Okay. So you know what I'm going to do? I'll throw you a rope.
Okay.
Here. We'll keep it as you've made that prediction.
Yes.
And so we'll just see
Yeah.
So you think that one more is out there?
I think one more is out there.
Okay. And that way you don't have to redo it. So
Yeah.
it's not that you'll be wrong. It's just like, we'll see if it comes
There's
out.
one more
Okay.
that could be happening.
Okay.
We got to make Valchek
Now we
pissed
don't know.
off one more time.
Gotta get
I got to watch him take out the microscope. This
Yeah,
time.
exactly. Okay, awesome. All right, well, before we close out this episode, we got our first email. We got our first email. All right. We are so excited and grateful. Ellie, take it away.
It says, "Hey, Ellie and Chris, love the podcast. I watched The Wire a few years ago and was blown away. I decided to rewatch and found you guys to listen to along my journey. Ellie does a great job going through the synopsis and offering rookie insight and predictions. Thank you. Chris is my boy until he trashed 24. What's up with that? When this is done, you should do a 24 rewatch podcast. Lol. Keep it up. Your biggest fan from Central New York, Matt."
Matt, thank you
Yay!
so much.
Thanks, Matt. This made us really happy.
Totally. We were smiling the whole day.
were.
It was awesome. So thank you.
Somebody's listening.
Yeah, definitely. And Matt from Central, I was like, do I know any? I was like, who did I pay Nope, it was an actual person that neither of us know. So thank you, Matt, for taking the time to send it. It was super cool. And now I have to never trash 24 ever again. You've saved the show. So thank you again, Matt, for writing in. And yeah, well, we hope you're enjoying the show.
Yeah,
so
please email.
Yes, exactly. So, and Matt, your emails always go to the front of the queue. So, all right, thank you again, Matt. Okay, well, that brings us to the end. So, one last thing I would just want to mention. So, next week we're going to be back to cover season 2, episode 7, Backwash.
Okay.
So, I think I don't have this off the top of my head, but I think that every episode title of this season, except for this one,
except for all prologue is
marine themed.
Yeah.
So it just strikes me as interesting. I
wondered about that too.
Okay, not exactly, but so
a lot of them, but not all
but
of
it's just
them.
interesting that they went like completely. Next one's Backwash, so it's like they threw this one out there that was like a literary kind of thing. So it's just interesting about that. So anyway, okay, well that's it. So. Yeah, I know. Go get your glass of wine. Listener, go get your glass of wine if you need, or whatever your drink of choice is. And we will be back next week.
All right.
Okay, so
good.
Ellie, as always, thank you so much.
Thanks,
this
Chris.
was really fun.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see y'all next week.
Bye, everybody.
The Wired and Rewired podcast is Ellie Peterson and me, Chris Aronchek. Our theme song is Nice Vibes by Neon Beach. Want to holler at us? You can email us at wiredandrewired@gmail.com or hit us on the burner at 240-488-0060 to leave us a voicemail. We're Wired and Rewired on all the socials. And of course, if you like the show, please give us a rating and review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. It helps other Wire fans discover the show. And until next time.
Some of you's got shifts to work in the morning. The rest of yous need to be drunk.